What's up, guys? Welcome to the Talk, the DaddyLeauges Podcast for all of Daddy Leagues, all the Madden Leagues out there. This is something that we kind of put together every couple of weeks just to kind of talk about CFM, talk about dynasties out there, get an opportunity for people to come in and talk about their CFM, share some tips and tricks and thoughts that they have, and just kind of give like a pulse on where we are as a CFM community. And man, I'm super excited. We got one of the biggest, best guys out there. We got Xpert from the Dynasty. Xpert, how you doing tonight on a Friday night, my man?
Man, it's blessed, man. I can't thank you enough for reaching out and let me jump on the podcast. Always a pleasure when the homie Nate calls you up and says, "Hey, man, let's chop it up for a little bit."
My friend, it's actually all the pleasure is mine just to have you on here. You're one of the hottest dudes out there with one of the hottest leagues out there. So let's just start right there. Tell me about the Dynasty. How did we get this thing started? When did we get this started? Tell people where they can find you and give us a little history about the Dynasty.
All right, so the Dynasty started with a guy by the name of Nasty Noob, and he has been playing games his whole life, been a gamer his whole life. And, he started this league many, many years ago, and it was just to get guys together to play games, have some fun, had that camaraderie together. And then I want to say probably 3 years ago, we made this decision that we wanted to be a content league. So we started the YouTube channel. You can check us out at the DML Network. And we just started putting shows out. And we just started to build the league with guys that had that same vision, that wanted to put Madden on the forefront of our league. And we wanted to get our opinion out, our voice out. But do it with like our own flavor. We didn't want to copycat anybody else. There's so many great leagues out there, but we just wanted to do it our way. And we've done that. And we try to stay true to our own form. And it's been great. We got a great group of guys. I'd like to say that every CFM has 32 super active users, but that's just not the way this goes.
Not the reality.
If you can get 10, 15 guys that are super pumped, super active, and then you get that next tier of 10 guys that are kind of active, and then you got your guys that just love to play their game. So, we got all different levels in the Dynasty. Of course, myself, I got several shows on the DML Network. My baby is called Expert's Corner. We love getting game changers on, talking to game changers, NBA Live, Madden, doesn't make any difference. But we're just trying to get our voice out there and hopefully, we can be one of those voices that people love to tune in and hear about. And that's really what the Dynasty is. We just want to be a top PS4 sim league that has great content to drive this Madden game more and more every day.
I mean, you said so much in those just few minutes. There's so many things I'd like to just kind of pick your brain about. So let's go ahead and just start right where you just kind of blew past something. The Dynasty's YouTube channel. Look, I'm telling you guys right now, you need to go check it out. Look, there's a couple of leagues that do production really, really, really well. I'm going to go ahead and let you in on a big secret. It ain't us, okay? We do just enough because I enjoy doing podcasts. I speak for a living, and so it's a way that I get to work on my craft and put out content. But I do it for my guys. They love it. They don't know no better, whatever. If you want to see some of the top leagues that do some of the best stuff that's out there, Madden Ball League for Xbox is way at the very, very top. And then DaDynasty is way at the top for PS4. You need to go check their YouTube page out. You need to subscribe. You need to check out Xpert Corner. I don't know how this dude does it. I run a couple of different leagues and put out just a little bit of content. I put out as much as I possibly can with everything I'm involved in, from ministry to work to raising 2 teenagers and all the other things that combine. But this dude here eats, sleeps, and just drives out content. You need to go subscribe. You need to check his stuff out. Go do that right now. And let's stay right there. Talk about the YouTube channel. Like, what is kind of your vision behind it? What makes you put out so much content? And what kind of drives you to putting out that really good stuff?
All right. So really, the YouTube channel drive is my brother, Nasty Noob, the guy that started the Dynasty. Like I say, about 3 years ago, he started the content. And when I first got into Dynasty, I wasn't. I was one of those second tier guys. I'd be on Twitter. I'd be involved in certain things.
I got a hard time believing you second tier anything.
Yeah, and then there just came a point where I was like, we need to do something to take this to the next level. I reached out to the homie Nasty Noop. He puts out some of the greatest graphics I've ever seen when it comes to Madden stuff. The way he does shows, the way he makes us look good as on-air talent is just amazing. And I said, hey, man, what can I do to help? And I've told him this several times. I didn't know. I mean, I love to talk. If you ask my wife, she'll tell you one thing I never do is shut up. So, but I never thought I'd have that kind of ability to get in front of a camera and talk Madden and make it entertaining. But I started it once I got my feet wet. It was like, what else can I do? And I just feel like every day I'm asking him, all right, when's the next show? When can we put something else out? And his vision to take this to the next levels has just been amazing. And he just has ideas coming out that he's just bounced off my head and said, hey, how about we do the gridiron, or how about we do the franchise? And then when he came to me with Expert's Corner and said, man, I just want you on screen with one other guy, you asking him questions, basically kind of look what you're doing right now, Nate, just a podcast of Xpert and some great guys in the community. And it's just taken off. And so a lot of that, I'd love to take credit for it. But the homie Nasty Noop, Dion, is just, he is a grinder as a commissioner in our league. And you know how much it can take on you when you're running a 32-man CFM league. There's 31 personalities, plus, he's got a family of his own. He's got a full-time job. So it takes a lot. He's got a lot on his plate. And that's why I got so much respect for him, because he's just consistently putting content out that's amazing. And I'm just blessed to be able to be at least a part of it. And just trying to be the voice of the dynasty on this side of the camera while he's doing all the hard work on the backside.
All right, so look, you're spreading some light, and I'm learning with the viewers here as we kind of go along this. So we don't do a whole lot of pre-stuff. I like it to be just natural and a fluid conversation. Yeah. So with that said, are you the commissioner of the dynasty, or what are you there?
So Nasty Noop is the head commissioner, and then we have a group of co-commissioners, myself, Tone Dog, and the homie SJ. And, really, we have a board, that really runs the league. That way one guy doesn't have all the power. It's really a voting board. Now, the head commissioner, he has the veto power, kind of like the president does. If he doesn't like something, he can sign his name on the bottom line and take it out. But, yeah, I'm just trying to be that co-commish that holds up the guy and be there in case he needs help with anything. Because, Nate, in a league, if you try and do everything by yourself, you're going to crumble really quick. The stress of users hitting your DM every other day to complain about something is just too much. So, we just try and take as much off his plate as possible so he can do the content stuff that he does and take care of the graphic stuff, and that's what we've really tried to do over these past 2 years, is take more and more off his plate as the head commish. And let pretty much everything funnel through us first. That chain of command we like to have in a CFM. So that way, when it does reach the top guy, it's already been vetted out, with 1 or 2 or 3 of the co-commissions that we have. But, man, it's so much. I think it's a blast being a commissioner of a league, even if it's in a co-commish role, because we do put a lot of work in. Yeah. So that way the head guy doesn't have to deal with every headache. Unless it's one of us co-commissioners that is the headache, which sometimes we tend to be at certain points.
Hey, man, it happens to the best of them. It doesn't matter how great of a league that you have. It doesn't matter how long that you've been around. Sooner or later, the board will turn on the commissioner, and you guys got to kind of figure that out. We've all been there. It happens to the very best of us. 32 different owners, 32 different personalities, 32 different people looking out for their own thing. Like, it becomes super, super difficult. So talk to us about Madden 18. Where have you guys, with your content, with your league, with everything, where have you found the most success? What's been some home runs for you this past year?
Well, I think really the home runs that we've hit has just been our consistency with some of the shows that we've been doing over time. We always have a franchise show. which we go through every first round pick that guys do. I host the show. I have a panel of guys that get on and we talk whether you reached for the pick, whether it was a good pick. That's always been a positive for us. We got the gridiron, which we talk about rookies coming up in the next draft. So those are some things on content side. Of course, Xpert's Corner's really taken off in Madden 18. But I think one of the biggest wins that we've had in Madden 18 is we've really tried to reach out to the community, to involve ourselves in the community more than I think we ever have. I think it's key that you get involved with other great leagues. You talked about Madden Bomber League, the NBL on Xbox. That's the Ferrari of CFMs. We just try to rub elbows with as many great people as we can. Of course, we know the homie Nate, OFML, just a great league that we love to deal with. And so it's been great. And then now we're just at that level where we're trying to hit the developers. How can we get involved with those guys? They've had some turnover at the top there at EA. It was sad to see Rex go, but I like the direction that EA is trying to go. So I think that's been the biggest thing for us in 18 is just trying to involve the community more with the Dynasty and get our name out there so we can, like I say, so we can be that voice of so many CFMs. There's so many great ones out there. We just want to be one voice that maybe gets heard every once in a while.
Yeah, I kind of look. You've said again some things I'd love to come back and touch on, and I want this to be a super fluid conversation, and instead of like checking things off of a box. So, Talk about the turnover at EA. I know that Douglas, if I've got that name right, he puts out some amazing stuff that's out there. Like I love reading his stuff. Some of that stuff is way too deep. I just kind of glance over it and skim it. Like that dude has invested some serious time, and I got mad respect. He and I have never talked. I just watched his latest video, I think that came out yesterday or whatever. They kind of talked about some of the things that the new guy has said. So what are your thoughts about the change of Rex? Look, a lot of guys want to grab pitchforks and light their torches and go burn down EA. I'm not one of those guys. We're going to talk about your shirt. Okay, that's going to have to come up in this conversation before it's all over with. So what is your thought on the current status of EA, the new leadership, where we're going? What are you kind of feeling about all this?
Well, I think Rex leaving, I think, it was kind of like, that Band-Aid that you've had on for 3 or 4 days, and it just kind of got ripped off, and nobody was expecting it. Now, there are some guys in the community that knew it was coming, but they were really silent about it. But I think for EA and for Rex, I think it was the best decision for both groups. Now, I mean, that's hard to think about because Rex was so involved with the CFM community. I mean, he was in the forefront of, always on Twitter, always answered questions when you had him, was very upfront. And I think Clint's trying to be that kind of that guy. He's really not. That's not his personality. He's been toucher, hit or miss with a bunch of that stuff. But they bring a guy in that and he's not been afraid to say that Mud is number one to him. But I also think the groundwork that Rex and Clint and John put in for the CFM community, I think we're going to start seeing some of that fruit here in Madden 19, Madden 20. And listen, we can't sleep on Mud. Mud is a huge piece of Madden. So I think that's the hardest thing for CFM guys is we always want to box Mud up and put them in the back seat and put ourselves in the front seat and say those guys don't matter. But, I think every mode is important. And it's just, can EA find that balance? Is it going to be 50-50 at EA? I doubt it. I doubt it's ever going to be 50 CFM, 50 Mud. It's just not going to be that way. At this point, I'd love it to be 60-40, 70-30. I just want some love to all modes. And I think they're starting to hear the community. You've already started seeing some great news come out of things that they're going to add to the game. That's going to be great for CFM leagues. But, I always, people change jobs all the time. So when I heard about Rex, I was upset first because I was like, man, I'm finally getting to go to EA Play. I'm finally going to get to meet Rex, and then now he's not going to be there. But, on my last show that I put out, I talked about, hey, man, in the Dynasty, we wish Rex nothing but the best. Whatever Rex is going through, he made that decision for himself and his family. And we respect those decisions. And now it's just time to rally the guys that are EA right now and continue our push for CFM and say, this is what we want as a community, and do it with respect. And whoever is going to listen, let's be loud and be unified.
I think you said a word there that's so very key. It's like that respect, right? Respecting that the fact this is a multi-million-dollar corporation and cussing people out on Twitter is probably not going to get your point across, right? And so let's talk about the Douglas video that came out. Did you get to see it where he talked about some of the contents from the new guy?
I have not seen Deuce's new video, but you hit the nail on the head. That guy's in depth. I wish EA would hire Deuce Douglas to run CFM. That guy would give us everything we need. He is on point with his stuff that he talks about.
Well, he talks about in this video, look, again, I didn't see the exact quotes and the exact comments, and so I may take some of this out of context. Please go to YouTube. You need to follow Deuce on Twitter. You need to follow his YouTube channel. Really, really great stuff. Super deep, super all about CFM, and a guy that I think is trying to like do it the right way, as I think a lot of us are, right, without going on these cussing binges on Twitter, which get really old for somebody like me. But he talks about how the new guy just talks about the CFM community and how the CFM community has gotten new additions, but it's never going to be enough. So when you hear something like that from the new guy that's in charge, what's kind of your gut reaction?
Well, I still think, CFM guys to the core agree it's never going to be enough. If we ask for 5 things and we get 3, there's going to be those guys that say, well, why didn't we get number 4 and 5? Instead of saying, hey, I'm glad they put 1, 2, and 3 in the game for us. And, the guys at EA, the guys working for Madden, they got to make some tough decisions. Yeah. If we look at 18, they put a new engine in the game in Frostbite. That's not very easy to do. It's not a plug and play kind of thing. That takes a lot of work to go from one engine to the next. Then you put a game mode in Longshot that took even more time away, and they had to find ways to cut, and so they decided to do that with CFM. Now, the new guy never said we're not giving CFM anything. Yeah. He just was very honest, and that's what I need from EA. Just be honest with me. If you're not going to give me something, tell me it up front versus wait till I pay $60, $80, whatever we're going to pay for whatever version, pop the game open and realize, oh my goodness, nothing changed. Yeah. It's just a roster update. At least be upfront with us. And he was very clear. Listen, CFM is getting some upgrades. There's going to be upgrades for strictly CFM. There's going to be upgrades for gameplay. There's going to be upgrades for how you build your team. But we're not going to be able to do everything that the community wants. And he said the same thing for Mutt. He's not going to give Mutt everything that they want. He's going to make they're going to make some changes that benefit EA and Madden the best. And then it's up to us in the CFM community to take those changes, see how they can improve, and go back at him for another year with that respect, and tell those guys, all right, guys, great job, but here's some other things we need to see. And I think that's really what Deuce Douglas does really well. He's very detailed on not just what he wants changed, but how they can change it. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that a lot of CFM guys are like, give us what we want, but never say this is the best way to do it.
Yeah. So look, this is an idea that's been tossed out there. I just want to again, we're just flowing with this conversation. If they said CFM, you'll get the love, but it needs to be a revenue generator for us, and so you're going to have to pay for that. So on top of the game, you're going to pay a monthly fee to have a server for your CFM or whatever that would look like. Would you pay to play for a CFM?
That's always a difficult question. We've actually asked that question in our league of what if it came to that? What if it was a pay to play kind of system? And see, I can understand where EA would kind of do that. You see a lot of these games that have that monthly subscription, or you got to buy the monthly pass, or even a free game like Fortnite, you got to buy the battle pass to play and get the whole content. So I could see them doing it. I would love for them not to go that route. You'd see a lot of leagues go away in the CFM community just because not everybody is a MBL. Not everybody can have, you know, that kind of revenue coming in, and pay for that. You know, a lot of guys, you know, they're just having a league because that's their game mode, and they don't have 32 users. They're going to drop, you know, $10 every single month to play a game. So you'd see the community dwindle quite a bit. So that's kind of where, you know, I would be hesitant to say, yeah, I'd be fine with that. Now, personally, you know, in our league, you know, I think we would be all right if it came to that. But there would be so many guys that would push back and say, you know what, I'm not going to pay to play a game that I've never had to do that before. And I think it would hurt Madden quite a bit if they tried to do that. So I certainly hope that's not in the works. Yeah. But I definitely won't put anything past anybody. You know, Call of Duty at one point, you just picked the game up, you played online. Then all of a sudden, every time you turn it around now, it's, you know, they want you to buy a new DLC, they want you to buy a new map pack. So, I mean, you know, I could certainly see it happening. I just certainly hope they hold off as long as possible before that happens.
All right, look, and I believe you, because I think I would do the exact same thing. Pay, right? But everybody's got a price. There is a point where it's like, this isn't worth it. So what is that price point for you? Where is there a point where it's like, this isn't worth it and I'm not doing this?
Wow. We talking monthly price?
You tell me. Monthly? All right. If it's over $20 a month, I'm not doing that. If it's over $60 for the year, I'm not doing that. Like, where is that price where it's like, this just isn't worth it, we're going to go find something else?
Yeah, I think if you start charging guys $20 a month, you know, if you buy a $60 game and then you have to spend an additional $20 a month to play your favorite mode,
it's a big price.
I think Madden would really start to disappear. You know, and you would have that hardcore gamer that would do it, because we see those guys buy packs nonstop for MUT and spend that kind of money. You know, I've always been that, you know, I'm that free guy, so I'm going to earn whatever card I can get on my MUT team. Yeah. You know, I have a 16-year-old son that is homeschooled, so he grinds during the day for my MUT challenges until I get to the house. But yeah, I would say if you start charging $20 a month, even $10 a month for a lot of guys, you know, you're talking $120 a year on top of a $60 game.
On top of PlayStation Plus.
On top of your PlayStation Plus, on top of your internet subscription. You know, there'd be a lot of guys that would really step back and say, you know, maybe this is just not worth it for me. Now, if there was a one-time fee, you know, you bought the Madden pass for the whole year and you had to pay, you know, $60 extra to get every piece of content. You know, I would be fine doing something like that, but there would be a lot of guys if you made them pay $5 a month, that would say, you know what, I'm not paying that. And they would not buy the game anymore.
All right, so one of the kind of common things that I see discussed, again, I don't get in a lot of these Twitter discussions, A, because, hell, I don't have that kind of time, and B, I don't like getting involved in a bunch of negativity. There's a ton of negativity in this world as it is, and I try to do some positive stuff. But one of the common themes that I've kind of always heard out there is that it isn't just that we want new things, but that a lot of the things that people would like in this game are the things that we've seen in the past, right? I'm an old PC guy back when you bought the game for $29.95 or whatever it was way back when, and your computer itself was your server, and you connected IP to IP, and it was like just some of the greatest stuff. And when you start talking about game show or game the game talk shows that used to be on there, and the Twitter feeds that are kind of boring now, right? And that seems to be the common thread where people aren't like, or just, they would be fine if you just gave us back the old stuff, made it work, and stopped taking it away. Where do you kind of fall on some of that?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of great things in past Maddens that we just got away from. You know, there was, you know, practice mode was a lot better in previous Maddens. You actually practiced based on your opponent, what was coming up, what their tendencies were. I think that would be great in Madden. You had coordinators where you actually could build your team around your coordinator. I mean, just so many great things. And I think that's where you get a lot of the hardcore Madden guys that look back at some of the great versions that we've played before. And we say, why can't we get that back in the game? Why did that have to go away so we could get confidence?
Yeah.
Why did that have to go away so that we could get, something else? What does it matter that you pop up that Twitter feed and I got to find out that my opponent's wearing a different colored jersey this week?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't add to the game for me at all. Where if I could go in practice mode and actually practice against plays that they like to run or schemes they like to run, that would be huge for the CFM community. And I think it's those layers that guys are really asking for to come back. And while new stuff is always great, everybody likes to get that new pair of shoes, but there's nothing wrong with the retro pair. There's really nothing wrong as long as it's the right retro pair. And I think that's really where you get a lot of guys on Twitter that really lose their mind, is because they start to think back at what we used to have in games, and then they start to get upset, like, why did that have to go away? Now I'm like you, Nate. The negative stuff on Twitter, I don't necessarily run away from it. There have been times I've tried to spin it back positive, which sometimes it's worked. Sometimes, I really get, shoved, the finger in my face and say, stop, get off my Twitter feed. You don't know what you're talking about. But really, guys at EA are not going to open their Twitter feed and say, okay, I got cursed at the 10th time today. That's the guy I'm going to listen to.
No.
You know what? You're right, because you threw an extra F word at me.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to listen to what you want, and we're going to put that in the next Madden. So I think, CFM guys, especially those guys like that on Twitter, can actually hurt our community.
Yep.
That hurt our voice, because nobody wants to get yelled at or told, how horrible a person they are, or, hey, man, I'm going to come to your house and burn your house down. Nobody wants to hear that. And I think that's actually doing more harm for our community than it's ever going to do good for us.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. So let's talk a little bit about Madden 19. What are your hopes for Madden 19? What are you hearing? What do you can't wait to kind of get your hands on when you go to E3 or ePlay or whatever the heck they call those things? What are you kind of looking forward to for Madden 19?
All right, so first thing I'm really looking forward to in Madden 19 is they're actually adding specialty positions. So you have that guy that's a third down back that you can plug him in. You draft that guy to your scheme. He's a third down guy. That's really important. You got that edge rusher that's his specialty. He's a edge rusher. He's not going to play the run real well, but you can sub him in when you know it's a pass and he's going after the quarterback. You got that guy that's a slot corner. Maybe he can't play the 1 or the 2, but he's really good in the slot. He's that Orlando Scandrick of your team. And I think that part of gameplay is so big for me, because it's just another layer, like I talk about, of building your team based on guys that you draft. Where right now, the free agency pool, the draft pool, is really just who's the fastest, and who's the biggest wide receiver, who's the biggest running back. And it's nothing about, hey, does this guy fit into what I'm doing here in my team? And that part, when I hear those things coming from EA, that those are the things that are going to be important. You're going to get a wide receiver that maybe he doesn't run the deep route very well, but, man, he's a short route guy. He'll go over the middle. That fits my scheme. That's the guy I'm going to draft. And then those guys that don't follow that, hey, they go and draft a guy just based on how he looks, but he doesn't fit their scheme. That's got to hurt them. And that's kind of where EA's trying to go, where in the CFM community, you have to not only play your game well, but you have to be a good GM. And that's where Madden 19 is trying to go. And that's the best thing that I'm hearing right now.
What are your hopes for gameplay?
I would love to see the animations improve 1,000,000%. I've always been a guy that's been very loud about how I hate confidence. I think it's one of the worst things in Madden, because you get a team that loses 3 games right off the gate. And in my league, you get some top guys. We have some top guys in KP and Andre and Hot Tub, and you play those 3 guys first, and you start 0-3, your confidence is shot. And then all of a sudden, your quarterback is throwing fade route when you're trying to throw the dig route. And it's just killer. And so that's one of the things I would love to see go away. I haven't heard anything from anybody about if they're changing confidence, if they're going to tweak it, anything. You know, that would be my two big things: is change the animations, stop letting my running back get sucked into a defensive tackle that's being blocked. It's clear that he's blocked, and there's a huge gaping hole for my running back to run through. And then all of a sudden, my running back's on the ground. You know, those kind of animations. You know, your wide receiver goes up for a pass. He clearly catches the ball, and then one guy runs past him and blows in his ear, and he drops the football. That just doesn't happen in the NFL. You know, I certainly hope target passing is completely gone. I've heard that it's done. They're not going to bring it back. It was a complete failure. So I think it's gone. But there's got to be some kind of, you know, I wouldn't even say like the passing cone needs to come back. But something.
God, please don't bring that back. Xpert, we can't. The cone made me quit commissioning my league for 6 months and walk away until the league decided to take it off.
Yeah, the passing cone was horrible too. I don't think it was as bad as target passing is, but it was pretty bad. But we got to have something where you can actually put the ball where you want it.
Yeah.
As a quarterback, you get a guy like Tom Brady. He's not overthrowing windows. He's just not. That's just not his. Aaron Rodgers is not missing windows, even as small as they are. But you got guys that, you know, and then to have a middle linebacker that can play 40 yards from the line of scrimmage, you know, he can act like he's blitzing, and then he goes and catches the post route.
Sideline to sideline.
That's got to stop. There isn't a linebacker in the NFL, even the great ones. Luke Kuechly is not blitzing, turning around, and going and catching the post.
Nope.
It's just not going to happen. So I think those kind of gameplay things I'd like to see just adjusted, tweaked, or even give commissioners the opportunity to adjust some sliders to take that away. Because I think in Madden 18, they really tried to make the game usable to every skill level. And I don't think that 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid should be able to play the same skill level that we're playing in some of our leagues. And I think they try to do that with simulation and competitive and arcade, but I just don't think they did it very well. And they don't think they did it very well. You know, they know that they got to adjust that. So I think some of those gameplay things I'd love to see fixed in 19. Are we going to get all of them fixed? I doubt it. But, you know, progress is what we need to see.
All right, I'm putting you on the spot. Take one, add one. Take one thing away from Madden 18, add one to Madden 19. What are you doing?
What am I taking away from Madden 18? You know, I really did like 18, but one of the biggest things that I really cannot stand in this game is just the lack of how you can build your team. It is just so vanilla in a CFM league. Scouting points mean absolutely nothing. The free agency means absolutely nothing. It's just about who has the most money.
That's it.
It's not about, you know, playing time. It's not about scheme. It's not about location. It's not about your head coach. It's
give
about
me the old draft system of every individual stat. Now, I'm just throwing that in, but give me that back. That was perfect.
Apps. That's it. Bring that back. The free agent system has to go away. Here's my thing. Even if they just hid what your bid was, don't let anybody else see it.
Yes.
Just hide it so no one else can see that I put 110 points on, and he comes on 5 minutes before advance and puts 115 on. And so, you know, we've tried to do some things in our league to combat that. We don't have set advances.
Sure.
You know, the advance can happen at any time, so there's no sniping at the end.
Commissioner's workload would go down 4 times and allow them to put out more content, more graphics, and more into the community if we didn't have to manage all of these rules around free agency, draft, practice squad sniping, like all of these things that we have to police and manage. I'm going a little soapbox there, but just fix those things, and the commissioners and our league owners can now put up more content for their teams and really, really put some great stuff out there into the community.
All right, Madden 19. There is a ton of things I want them to add, but here's one thing on the commish side that I really want added to Madden 19. Make the companion app worth something.
Yeah.
Instead of just me looking at it as a schedule, I want to be able, as a commissioner, to, suspend a guy. I want to, I want to have total control of my league. As a user, I want to be able to go on there and do my training while I'm at work. Do my training, get it out the way. I want to be able to draft on the companion app.
That would radically change CFM if they could do that.
You got 32 guys, and to try and get 32 guys in front of their system at the same time on the same day is impossible to do. And you got leagues that are putting out content on draft night, and that's so important. That I know a lot of leagues are doing snake drafts where they just start the draft and pause it after each pick, but that's so much work for a commissioner, and it's just a pain for those guys. Where if we could just say, hey guys, we're going to draft at 7:00 on Saturday night, and you could do it right on your app, oh man, yeah, would be a huge bonus for CFM. So I wish the companion app, I wish it would let me cut people, pick somebody up in free agents, do everything except play the game. And that's really what I want the companion app to be. On top of all the other things I would love in Madden 19, that would be such a huge bonus to CFM community.
All right, now I've kept you for 40 minutes. You and I could probably talk all night long, so I'm going to start turning the corner here and bringing us home. And I've got enough on my rampages here. But let's talk about your CFM tips and tricks. Now, you're a very veteran commissioner. You've been around one of the top leagues, if not the top league in the PlayStation community. So give a new guy, if there's a new guy out there that's trying to get his league going, trying to get things rolling, give him your top 3 things that he should do to have a successful Madden CFM.
So the number one thing I would say you have to do is you have to surround yourself with a good core group of guys. At no point are you going to get 32 guys with the same mindset all possible. But if you get those guys, 4 or 5 guys at the top that are going to have your back, they're going to go out there and recruit for your league, that are going to help you when things get tough, that are going to kind of like, talk to users when they need issues in your DM, and so it's not all on one guy. That would be the number one thing. You got to surround yourself with a good core group of co-commissioners and board members, however you're going to run your league. The second thing is I know it's probably the hardest thing to do, but you got to not take so many things personal as a commissioner. If you take everything personal, that's going to put a lot of weight on your shoulders to the point where your league's just not going to last. It's going to fall by the wayside. And you get a lot of those users that just know how to rub you the wrong way. They know how to push those buttons. And it's very difficult to not take it personal, but that's so important in this Madden community. And then the third thing is you got to have a specific set of rules to your league. It's very important that, this game is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And guys definitely know how to manipulate the AI to benefit them in the most crazy ways I've seen. So you got to have a very specific, I wouldn't say strict, but very specific set of rules. And you have to hold everybody to the same standard, no matter who it is. And sometimes that's very hard to do as a commissioner. You got guys that you've been, playing Madden with for 5-6 years. If a rule is broken, it has to have the same effect for everybody in the league. And then the last thing I would tell you is, man, just have fun. That's what this is a game. That's what we're here to do. We're here to play Madden and have fun. And when it stops being fun, that's when it starts taking a different turn. It's very difficult to continue to run your league. So just have fun. And then one of the things that I really love about this community is it's very close-knit when you start meeting some great guys. So don't hesitate to reach out to guys. Don't think that, people are going to think bad about me if, I ask for help. Go ask for help. Yeah. It's okay to ask for help. Partner with somebody that's been doing it a while. Anybody can find me on Twitter at DML Experts Corner. Hit me up. I would love to talk to people in the DMs about, things that we do in our league to drive content, to make things more enjoyable as users. But yeah, definitely reach out and don't think you're in this thing alone, because there are a ton of us doing this. And we know what it's like when it first started and where we're at now. So we kind of know the headaches we've been through. So just know you're not the first one, and you won't be the last one that started a league that's gone through it.
All right, last three things. I'm going to take two of them and mesh them together into one with a little bonus at the end. So the two that I'm going to mesh into one is, I want you to give me first, talk about your shirt. Tell us what that's all about. Tell us what kind of the thing behind that is, what's it standing for. And then I want you to talk about the state of the CFM. Where does the CFM community stand, and what are your kind of thoughts about how to take it forward?
All right, so this is my Needed Gaming shirt. Shout out to my homie Dubby, one of the top MUT guys, actually a 2017 Madden Bowl champion. I reached out to the homie Dubby and said, hey, man, I need you on Xpert's Corner. He came on. We talked about everything. Huge Philadelphia Eagle guy. We talked all Philly sports. We talked Madden, MUT, gameplay, changes he wanted to see. And so he has these shirts called Needed, and that's really his catchphrase. If you ever watch him play, he gets a big play, he'll just yell it out, need it, need it. And then he's got, hashtag save Madden 19, because there are MUT guys that want things fixed in Madden, just like everybody else. They have things that they didn't like. And so he started the Save Madden 19. So just supporting a good friend of mine in Dubby, a MUT champion. And then the CFM community. I think the CFM community right now, Madden 18 has brought us together a lot more than we have in the past. I've talked to more guys in other leagues this year than I ever have in any other Madden. And whether that's because we just collectively felt Madden 18 didn't live up to our expectations, and a lot of guys needed to vent and didn't want to do the Twitter rant and do all that way, but wanted to kind of reach out and rant in privately, and call me on the phone or text me and say, I can't believe this is what's happening in my league. What are y'all doing? So, I definitely think we can still get stronger as a community. And I think there are guys that are taking steps to do that. We got guys like Shopmaster that are trying to build this community together. You got guys like Deuce Douglas, who's putting out great content every single week about how CFM can be fixed. So I still think we have a long way to go to unify us as a group, but I think we made some strides here in Madden 18 this year.
All right, there you go. Here's my bonus one. Who wins the NBA championship? I know you're a big NBA guy.
I hate to say this, but what are you doing, JR? I think I think the Warriors win it. My 16-year-old is a diehard LeBron fan. We are going to be rooting for the Cavs hard in Xpert's household. We want the Cavs to win, but those Warriors are they always find a way to pull it out somehow. And they're going to get Andre Iguodala back here in another game or so, and they're just a different team when that guy comes off the bench. So I got to go with the Warriors, but the Cavs are going to give them a fight. But I'm rooting for the Warriors. I'm rooting for the Cavs. I want LeBron to beat the Warriors, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
It's a tough task ahead, especially when JR and the rest of these crazy guys are doing the way they're doing. All right, tell people one more time where they can find you, where they should subscribe, what they should like, what they should retweet. Tell people where they can go and find you.
All right, you can see me on Twitter at DML Xpert's Corner. Just follow me on the Twitter account. You'll get all the info you need about the content that we're pushing out. And then check us out on YouTube, DML Network, the DML Network. Subscribe to the channel. We will be at EA Play this year, so we'll be dropping content every single day that we're there on what we see. We'll have interviews with developers from multiple games, and just rub elbows with some great guys that are there. But that's the place you can catch us at. Man, I appreciate you letting me jump on the show. Always a pleasure when Nate contacts me and says, hey, man, we got a show to do.
Xpert, it's always a pleasure, my friend. You are one of the biggest personalities in our community and definitely one of the loudest voices. And you know what? You're a youth minister at heart just like I am, so I got mad respect for you. Thank you so much for what you do for the community, for the content that you put out, and look forward to your E3 videos that you're going to be making. I don't ever get to go to those things, so I can't wait to kind of see what you guys are coming out with. Thanks everybody who tuned into the show or who even watched this a little later. Give us a like, a subscribe, give us a retweet, get our stuff out there. Make sure that you support Daddy Leagues and League Crawler. Those are two big websites that will help your CFM get to that next level. These guys are giving us tools in the CFM community and doing things to help take your league to that next level and really help give you some great things to give to your owners. We got the next couple of months of shows already planned out for this Daddy Leagues The Talk podcast, and we're going to have more great people just like Xpert that's going to be on it, including Madden Bomber League and their commissioner. So make sure that you watch for these videos. Give us a like, a subscribe. If you want to be on one, contact me, hit me up. Know that I've got a couple of weeks of these, couple of months of these actually already planned out. I don't want to put them out every single week because then it's just going to kind of get lost in the shuffle of stuff, and we're going to get more and more content as guys like Xpert and Shop and all these other really good dudes put out great content. I want this to be an addition to the community. I don't want this to be another thing where I just scream louder than everybody else so that you'll watch what we're doing. That's not the point of this. This needs to be an asset. So check out our videos. Give them a like, subscribe. Go give Xpert a follow. Make sure you like his stuff, retweet his stuff. We'll see you guys on the other side. Xpert, you enjoy the rest of your weekend, my friend.
Hey, man. God bless you.